Now, something that we recommend for basically all of our freshwater aquariums is adding conditioning salts. Now, what conditioning salts do is massively improve the immune system of the fish. We find that they tend to be susceptible to a whole lot less infection, and when they do get any sort of problem, we find that bacterial particularly, but also fungal and parasitic, definitely seem to be minimized by increasing the amount of conditioning salts in the water. So depending on the sorts of fish that you have, we have conditioning salts specific for turtles, we have specific conditioning salts for goldfish, we have ones for soft water fish, we have ones for hard water fish, we have tropical fish ones. No matter what sort of fish you have, there are conditioning salts. In general, the conditioning salts are very similar to each other, but the elements that are mixed into the conditioning salt can be slightly different. They're not different enough for you to really have to stress out if you don't have one or the other one. They are somewhat interchangeable, but if you are buying them for a specific fish, it is technically better to get the conditioning salt that suits the exact fish. The other thing that we do very well with too is our medicated salts. So if you have sick fish, I'd go for the medicated salts. If you have goldfish, obviously the goldfish salts and so forth. Though the differences between them are minimal, we get a much better success with our fish over time. In general, we run about 1 gram per litre of salt. If you run much higher than that, it can affect your plants. So you want to err on the side of caution if you're running plants in the aquarium. Otherwise, some fish like brackish water fish actually will do well with even more than that. So anyway, you can also you can check the salinity of your tank using something like a refractometer, or you can test your GH, and you will find that the GH of your aquarium will be affected by the conditioning salts. So if you want to raise your GH, then you can add conditioning salts. If you want to lower your GH, then you tend to do a water change and don't add conditioning salts. The other thing about conditioning salts too is make sure that you only add conditioning salts when you do a water change. Do not add conditioning salts when you do a top-up. So we do recommend using carbonate powder when we do a top-up. So when we do a top-up, we'll add water ager, and we will add KH powder, because KH does tend to deteriorate over time, but conditioning salts do not. They stay in solution. So anyway, put a little comment down the bottom with your experience using conditioning salts. What success or failures have you had with them?